Welcome back, everybody. It's Michael Levitis from JurisQ.com, a legal network where I bring you different attorneys from different practice areas to answer your frequently asked questions. And as we have already introduced our brand new participant, a new attorney that we're working with, Herbert Lawrence. Herbert, welcome to our network once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're here to educate the public on personal injury law, what to do and what not to do if you were in a car accident in terms of getting compensated. And I want to ask you a question now regarding what type of compensation. That's very important to get compensated if you were injured in a car accident. Because we know, look, if you were in a car accident, you lost time from work. You possibly had pain, suffering, damages to yourself, to your property. So can you tell us about all that? What can you get compensation for, and how does it all work? Thank you.
All right. There are different aspects of what you can sue for, many of which the value is determined by a jury, which is always a difficult proposition because they are 6 people that neither side has ever met, and you have very little input on what their value of anything is, quite candidly. But you do use general criteria in hopes that you're choosing someone who would be perhaps leaning towards your side or not, but there is never a guarantee. The aspects that you can sue for, as you've mentioned, are lost wages, but you can't just put out the fact that you were out for X amount of time and what you lost in earnings. You need the backing of a doctor, a treating doctor generally, or an examining doctor, to confirm that the injuries that doctor testifies that you suffered were in fact causally related to the lost wages. You can't just say I was out 3 years and that's what I want. You need a doctor to somehow justify that. And that's only one aspect. Doctor has to justify medical expenses. He has to testify at fair length that they are reasonable and necessary. So the cost is reasonable, but that the aspect of what treatment you received was in fact necessary and was caused by the accident. Pain, suffering, and permanency are they're questions not only for the plaintiff, but also for the plaintiff's doctor. And keep in mind that there's going to be a defense doctor who examines the plaintiff probably only once, and quite candidly, probably only for 15 minutes. But during the trial, we bring out all of those aspects to try to diminish that doctor's testimony. And to be quite blunt, that doctor is hired to say that there's nothing wrong with the plaintiff.
Of course.
And if there is something wrong, it was caused by something other than the accident.
Of course, because he's working and being paid for by the insurance company. So it's in their interest to deny you coverage, deny you your claim, right?
So the aspect of pain, suffering, and permanency is it's not really a tricky one, in the sense that the nature of the accident and the nature of the injury, people on a jury understand injury. You know, they have to be, you're looking for people who are not, 19 or 20. You're looking for people who have experienced life and understand what injury is, what the nature of the injury is, and what the aspect of pain and what diminished lifestyle, if any, that you received. So you need to choose the right people, hopefully, but they will understand what the injury is, because your doctor and even the other doctor at times will explain the nature of the injury. And then it's up to the jury to determine the value of what pain was suffered by the plaintiff, whether that resulted in a permanent injury that reflects on that person's abilities in life, and the magnitude of that will distill down to a monetary amount set by the jury.
Understood. Let me ask you, what if you own a car that was hit in a car accident, who do you go after to get compensation for the damages to your car? In other words, do you only go to your own insurance company? You may have a deductible. Can you also go after the other car's driver or the owner for the rest of the damages and to get your deductible covered?
Well, that's very fact-based. It's fact-based in the sense of you have to determine, or we as attorneys have to determine, who during a trial we can prove was at fault. Now, it doesn't have to be in New Jersey 100% at fault. There can be a division of blame, but if the plaintiff is more responsible, like 51%, they cannot be compensated. Now, it's up to the attorney, after hearing the facts from his client, how to present those facts in the best light to the jury to diminish any fault or totally omit any fault and blame 100% on the defendant. Many cases, it's rather simple. If you're hit in the rear, it's kind of self-explanatory to most people. Most people on juries are drivers, that you're not at fault. You're sitting at a red light, you get whacked in the rear. Obviously, you're not at fault. When you're a passenger, it's almost impossible for a passenger to be at fault. They're sitting in a car, it's in an accident. Thus, when we represent passengers, we have a pretty easy case. Whoever the driver gets sued. Now, sometimes the judge, through a process known as summary judgment, determines that one of the drivers was not at fault. It matters only in the sense of the insurance coverage by someone who is not at fault obviously disappears and cannot be tapped into as a verdict.
Very good.
But that's part of the trial process, and it's also part of determining if there's what the settlement value is, if it, and when it can be reached, and then it's totally up to the client after they receive advice from their attorney.
Yeah, Herbert, you bring up a very good point. People think that all these cases go to trial in front of a jury and the judge, the whole drawn-out process. But as you have mentioned, quite often you can settle a case before it goes to a trial, so you can get your compensation much faster. And like you said, it's a decision that is done by the client after consultation with an attorney, and you and I will have another session talking about just that. When is it wise to take a settlement, or when you should go to full-blown trial? Okay, I think that's a very interesting topic for people to hear. But for now, I thank you for your time, for your answers, and I'm going to bring you back next time to talk about another very important question that people frequently ask. It's a real-life question that happens. If somebody is a passenger in the car and they were hit by, of course, another driver, they get injured, whom can you sue? Whom can you go after to get maximum compensation for your injuries? All right, Herbert, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for listening in, for watching our sessions, and please stay tuned for another session with Herbert Lawrence, a personal injury attorney. And of course, what we do here is we educate, we give you general information. If you want specific advice on your case, or if you want second opinion, let's say you already have an attorney, you want to talk to Herbert's law office, please call the number on the bottom of the screen. Thank you and have a good day.